Welcome back, everyone. What did you think about that F1 race in particular? That was quite an interesting race, but I want to make this video even more interesting because I have some important questions that need answering. Is Max Verstappen a genius or is he a fraud? Is he one of the greats or is he a fraud? This is the perfect image to start this, after the race especially. This is the second perfect image to start this video after said race. This was the race. This was the most interesting thing that happened in the race. It was a forgettable race. It wasn't good at all. It was terrible, to be honest with you. I'm sure you've seen it as well. I'm sure you probably fell asleep. But after Max Verstappen pole position yesterday, people started acting again as if he's driving a tractor. I will assure you, this is not the real car he was driving. He's not driving a tractor. He's driving a very, very fast car. Is it as fast as the McLaren? No. No, it's not as fast as the McLaren. So does he deserve credit for getting that car in first position? Yes. Max Verstappen and the team deserve credit for getting that car in pole position. But in a race where overtaking was bare minimum, there was no overtaking for the top teams. The only overtake that you had for the top teams, that was Lewis overtaking Hajar, and that's because Hajar was in a significantly slower vehicle. If Hajar was in that Mercedes or that Ferrari or that Red Bull, you can forget about overtaking because with only one DRS zone, it's not short enough. The overtaking ability, there was no chance of overtaking. You know, you gotta remember the final corner at Suzuka. It's a slow corner, very slow speed corner. So if you're following someone and they're like 6-7 tenths in front of you, by the time they get on the power, you are probably still in the braking zone. So how are you gonna make up that deficit on a straight that is it's a long straight, but that final corner does not help with overtaking. If they do to that corner what they did in Barcelona, Catalonia, then we have some potential for more overtaking. If they gave us 2 DRS zone, that would have made it significantly more interesting. But that final corner, that final chicane, that will never be good for overtaking, let's just be honest. But I personally think with everything, yes, they deserve credit for getting that car in pole position. Credit where credit is due. But people pretending as if that car is not fast, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. So in my personal opinion, I think they're getting too much credit. They're getting too much credit because people are acting as if this guy is driving a tractor. And that's just not the case. You know, a car can be difficult to drive and still be fast. There is no doubt that that car is difficult to drive. I'm sure it's not impossible to drive because he's doing it. And clearly, it is not extremely difficult to drive because if it was, he would be badly performing just like he did after last year when they removed that asymmetric braking system. If that car was truly a tractor, truly difficult to drive, like you just can't get a hold of it, he wouldn't be performing this well. So that's why I'm going to label this entire video that Max Verstappen is more of a fraud, especially with how his fans are acting. The Max Verstappen cultists, the Max Verstappen evangelists, all of those fans, they're acting as if this guy is dragging a Williams to first position, or he's dragging an AlphaTauri, or he's dragging that Aston Martin to first position. That's how the fans are acting. That's literally how they're acting. At the moment, I can say with confidence that Red Bull is better than the Ferrari. That's clear as day. I would say with that Red Bull, it's on a similar playing field with the Mercedes, but probably a little bit better than the Mercedes, just a little bit. But that's all that Max Verstappen needs to beat 2 drivers who are just not using the machines to their capability. That's Lando, that's Oscar. By the way, this is a race where Oscar was the fastest driver in the McLaren group, but not being able to overtake, you can't use it. So, you know, qualifying now in the sport has become the most important aspects of a driver ability to score points. You qualify as high as possible and you try to hold on to that position. Now, we've seen for the past few years, that's not been the way Lewis goes about doing business because he's coming from a mindset of, I'm a championship winning mindset, greatest of all time, 8-time world champion. I win championships by having a car that's both balanced and good in qualifying and good in the race. But with drivers like Russell, drivers like Leclerc, drivers like Max especially, what you see they tend to be focusing on, just get the qualifying out of the way and try to hold on to that position. On a track like Suzuka, on a track like Monaco, tracks like those where overtaking is not very good. On a track like Australia, yeah, perfect. You need to ace the qualifying and try to hold on to that position. So like I said, yeah, they deserve some credit, but they're getting too much credit. It's more of a fraud. He's not driving a tractor. He's not driving the slowest car in the grid. He's not even in the fourth slowest car in the grid. That would be the current Ferrari. Do I expect Ferrari to improve? Of course I do. But I've already told you in separate videos, do not be surprised if Red Bull and Max Verstappen start doing better. Why? Because that car is not as bad as people are pretending to be. It's got a good platform to build on. It's got a good platform to work with. Is it as fast as the McLaren? No, it is not as fast as the McLaren. Nothing is as fast as that McLaren. But is it faster than the Ferrari? Yes. It is a little bit faster than the Mercedes? Yes. So I don't care what is fancy. I don't care what the Max Verstappen evangelist says. I don't care what they say. You're not fooling anyone with, he's driving a tractor. What fucking tractor? You mean the car that is built on the platform that won him a championship last year, won the constructors in 23 and the driver championship in 23? That same car, that same platform? So they built the fastest car known in human history in the most recent years for Formula One, yet now suddenly 2 years later it's a tractor? You're not fooling anyone. Certainly not fooling me, but here's the driver standing so far. We got Lando. He won the first race. Oscar won the second race. Max won the third race. Who's going to win the Bahrain race? Now, Bahrain, I'm way more excited for Bahrain because Bahrain, you can actually get a little bit more overtaking done. Saudi Arabia, I have no fucking idea what's going to happen in Saudi Arabia, but you can get the odd overtake here or there. I suspect Max to win in Saudi Arabia, but I expect Lando or Oscar to win in Bahrain. Then we got Florida. We got Florida we got Florida in early May. That will be interesting. Yeah, remember we're on a triple header, so just had Japan, we got Bahrain next, we got Saudi Arabia. Let me know what you think though. Do you think Max Verstappen is getting too much credit? Or are you one of those people who think that he's driving a tractor? I didn't realize tractors were illegal in Formula One, by the way, but Max Verstappen fans would argue the different. Here's another Max Verstappen evangelist. You got Fernando Alonso. Only he can do it. Fernando Alonso has been, licking Max's lady parts for a long time. Alonso has been licking Max butt crack for a long time. And I'm not afraid to say it. If you don't like this kind of language, well, I didn't invite you, so you can get the fuck out. But I don't care for Fernando Alonso. And one of the reasons Fernando Alonso is obsessed with Max Verstappen, because Max Verstappen has helped to dethrone Lewis Hamilton. Lewis used to be the king of F1. In terms of winning championships, stuff like that, he used to be the king of F1. He's still the king of F1 because he's got the biggest name in F1. But in terms of winning championship, he just hasn't had a car for the past few years. And Alonso loves the fact that it was Max Verstappen who helped to steal, was the beneficiary of the stolen championship in Abu Dhabi. He loves the fact that Max Verstappen was driving Lewis off track in 21, putting his car on top of Lewis Hamilton's head in 2021. He was a fangirl. He still is. He's loving it. Would Fernando Alonso love Max Verstappen this much if Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso came into Formula One, same age, same time? When was he in Formula One? Was it 2003 or 2004? Well, I know he won 2005 and 6, but imagine if he had Max Verstappen to contend with. Do you think they would have gotten along just as well? No. So why is he so obsessed with Max now? Because for the longest time, Fernando Alonso has had an obsession with Lewis Hamilton. He has not been able to get over the fact that Lewis beat him in Lewis' rookie season. The inexperienced Lewis Hamilton, inexperienced in the world of Formula One, and Fernando Alonso never saw it coming, and he was beaten on genuine pace. He was destroyed in Fuji in the wet by a rookie. He could never recover from that traumatic experience. Now, who in the sport tried to dethrone Lewis? Vettel, Rosberg. So many came, so many went. Lewis retired these drivers. That's what Lewis does. He retires drivers. And the only driver who made it out of that pressure cooker is George Russell. And I think Leclerc will probably be okay as well. But arguably is because they have age on their side. While Lewis is leaving the sport, they're just getting in. But Alonso, he's got this weird obsession with Lewis. So anyone who's beaten Lewis, anyone who's gone up against Lewis, Fernando is gonna kiss their ass from here to the Netherlands, all the way around the world, 360. So apparently Max Verstappen defies expectations and his own car performance to qualify ahead of both McLaren and secure his first pole since Austria last season. Damn. Austria, you know. I give him credit where credit is due. I blame it more on the McLaren drivers. The car that they have should never be outqualified by Max Verstappen, because Max Verstappen does have the second fastest car, but is it as fast as that McLaren? You can fucking forget it. No, it's not as fast as that McLaren. It's nowhere close to that McLaren. But Max and Red Bull were genius. They set that car up for aerodynamic efficiency, not necessarily too much downforce like the McLarens went with. I'm guessing Norris needed a bit more downforce, but Max just wanted that qualifying done. Hold first for as long as possible. And all you really have to do is ace the pit stop, no undercuts. And him and Red Bull seem to have a lot of luck doing this. They're very lucky when they get themselves in these positions. You never see things go terribly bad for them. You know what I mean? And the incompetence of McLaren, when they pitted Oscar, that's when they should have pitted Norris, obviously. Give him a chance to undercut Max. But it's as if McLaren didn't even want to win this fucking race. Plenty of incompetency. Even towards the end of the race, Oscar clearly was the fastest driver throughout the race. So are you guys going to swap positions and, you know, let Oscar have a go at getting Max? Because Oscar is the kind of guy that could overtake. I give Oscar way more credit to overtake than I do give Norris. I think Oscar might be the better overtaker. I think so. And in terms of long-term potential, a lot of people say Oscar has a higher long-term potential. You can't forget. Lando's been in this sport since what, 2019 or 2018? I can't even remember. But he's been here a while. He's been here for a while. Oscar is in his third season. So this is the year where Oscar is truly ready to, fight for that championship. And he has the car. And if anything, Oscar looks like he won that championship more than Norris. And Oscar, he almost DNF in Australia, so he's got a lot of points catching to do. But I'm just being real. But, here's Alonso, he's saying only he can do it. Referring to Max, of course. I mean, goddamn, what kind of ass kissing is that? Alonso, stop kissing his ass so much. Go kiss him on the cheek every once in a while. He went on to say, I think there's no other driver at the moment that can drive a car and put it so high, higher than the car deserves. I think it was a magical moment for everyone. I'm sorry, Alonso. Didn't Lewis just did that in the sprint race in China? You didn't say anything about that, did you? No. He would never praise Lewis because Lewis destroyed him. And Alonso went on to destroy his own fucking career by never staying consistent with a team thoroughly. Wherever he goes, he creates controversy and problem. And now he's in his final days in Formula One. He's not a 7-time world champion. He's not an 8-time world champion. Not even close. He's got 2 titles. He's got 2 titles. Max got twice as much. And some of Max's titles are illegal and stolen. God damn, these motherfuckers are riddle. And that makes them hate Lewis even more because Lewis won all of his titles legitimately. And Lewis should have more title wins if they weren't stolen from him. Imagine being Lewis Hamilton, being that great. Imagine being this man. But people think this man is better. People think this man is better. Why? Because they're white. I'm saying it. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. I'm speaking the truth. They don't like a black man who's this strong in the sport. And he was in a midfield team. And he was doing okay. But, just okay. They wouldn't have a fucking problem with Lewis. But the audacity for Lewis to go out there and show his true pace, his true racing skills, they can't stand it. And I'll never shut up about it. So with Max Verstappen fans saying what they're doing, acting the way they're acting, saying he's driving a tractor, you're making him look worse. Because we know it's fraud. We know it's all fraud. Yes, he deserves credit for the good performance. Yeah, here it is. Norris classified only team with two good drivers comment in Japan. Norris had to clarify the claim that McLaren is the only team on the grid with two good drivers. Adamant he wasn't putting himself on a pedestal ahead of likes of Lewis Hamilton. Actually, it was Lando Norris, I believe it was referring to this. So let's get into it. I believe he was basically saying, it's not all about the car, it's also about the drivers. And yeah, we know that. Two good drivers. I think there was the comment just about they're the only team that has two good drivers or have the two best drivers. And it was just crazy. That was the news that was coming out of the team. I don't know if it was Zach Brown who directly said it or if it was Lando Norris who directly said it, but whoever it was, don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Because they're the two best drivers. You'd think they'd be able to take on Verstappen in a slower car. And that is only where I give Verstappen credit. But to say Verstappen is driving a tractor, he's driving another Formula One fucking car. Is it 2/10 slower? Is it 3/10 slower? Maybe. But depending on the track, he might have better performance compared to the other teams. I remember back in 2017, 2016, 2018, Mercedes would be dominant most of the time throughout the season. You'd go to Mexico, and what you find is that the Red Bull became competitive, really competitive. And it's like, where did that come from? Elevation, track differences, different teams perform differently. Anyway, Lando went on to say, people love to be saying that. He said, we are the only team that has two good drivers at the minute. That's the big difference. If one of us doing a lot worse, one of us is not as strong. In the sprint, Oscar was second or third, I was eighth. He went on to say, you'd have that a lot more often, like you do with Ferrari and like you do with Red Bull. Max is up there, and you have the other driver a lot further back. Yeah, but the difference is that that car is built for Max. And while people try to deny it, this is another thing where I say, the Max Verstappen thing is a bit of a fraud because they try to pretend as if that car is not designed for him. It is built to allow him to go faster. It's not the car is not built to go faster. It's built only to allow him to go faster. You can't tell me, because what they're basically trying to tell us is that Max Verstappen has the slowest car in the fucking grid. That's what they're basically trying to tell us, because his teammates are at the back of the fucking grid. That is what they're trying to convince us. And that's where I say, yeah, then Max Verstappen is a fucking fraud because it's a fucking lie. Because he does not have the slowest car in the grid. He has the second. He has the second fastest car in the grid, maybe third, but it's there or thereabouts. He doesn't have the fifth. He doesn't have the fifth fastest car in the grid. No, he doesn't have the slowest car in the grid. Not even close. It's hypocrisy. That's what it really is. He went on to say, however, so I think that the fact that we have two good drivers honestly making a big difference. In certain cases, I don't think we necessarily have the quickest car, whether it was the sprint last weekend, qualifying, or the race. No, Lando. You have the fastest fucking car. And Lando Norris is another one. For some mysterious reason, everyone is downplaying their car performance this year, except for Ferrari. Have you not noticed that Ferrari and us, the Ferrari fans, we're the only one who has to admit that we are the fourth slowest car? There is no discussion around that. Right now, anyway, we are the fourth slowest car. There is no discussion around that. Even in Japan, Russell, I believe, was faster than Leclerc, but Russell made a mistake in qualifying. He lost out to Leclerc. But that is another thing. Teams are starting to say that, they don't have the fastest car. Like the McLaren teams are starting to say they don't have the fastest car. What a load of bullshit. They've been trying to deny this. I'm like, so who does have the fastest car? Tell us. If you, McLaren, don't have the fastest car, who the fuck does? Is it an invisible team we're unaware of? No, you have the fastest car, but you don't want to take blame when things don't go right. Like Japan, you don't want to take blame. But we saw the way you hanged on to that Red Bull the entire race. We saw the way how you were significantly faster, just couldn't overtake. We saw the way how you finished 15 seconds ahead of the closest rival, which was the Ferrari of Charles, who was holding up the Mercedes of Russell. Come on, we're not clowns, but they're trying to treat us as clowns. So when people try to treat us as clowns, I create videos saying Max Verstappen is a fraud. And if McLaren is not careful, if Lando is not careful, I'm going to create a video about them as well, saying that they're frauds. Because if you're coming out to just tell lies that you don't have the fastest car when we know you have the fastest car, then who does? Are you gonna say it's Mercedes? That's bullshit. Are you gonna say it's Ferrari? Certainly fucking not. Are you gonna say it's Red Bull? If Red Bull had the fastest fucking car, you and I both know you're not seeing Max Verstappen for the next 10 fucking years, fella. Sorry, for the next 10 fucking race. You're not seeing him. You're not even getting a glimpse, buddy. So you do have the fastest car, McLaren. Admit it. Don't try to be a fraud. But if they want to be frauds, I'll make videos about them being frauds. So you can let me. So I want to know from you. Do you think that the performance is justifiable? But I think the performance, it is justifiable. The car is built on a great platform. It does have its difficulties, but the car is not a fucking tractor. And if people keep on saying it, well, I gotta say Max Verstappen is a fraud because it's not a tractor. It is a very good car. It is a fast car, but it's difficult to drive. A car can be fast and difficult to drive. A car can be very stable. It can be great to drive, but it can be slow as fuck. A car can be many things, but just because it's difficult to drive does not mean it is a slow car. Who the fuck said that? Which university did you go to for your PhD in aerodynamic efficiency? Or in car design, in industrial design? Where the fuck did you go? I didn't go, but going as far as to say this motherfucker is driving a tractor, I don't think so. I'm gonna end this video here, but thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.